I can't keep up with this Stuttering John stuff. Carl had to give me the Godfather, you can act like a man speech the other night. Because I was literally like, I don't even know if I want to talk about this shit anymore. Like, I can't do it. I'm too deep in.
I actually thought we were going to be
by the
done.
shirt collar.
Yeah, I thought we were going to be done with him actually on this program for a while, and then he had Army Major on. So
I literally said to Hack Ride, because this is where me and Hack Ride balance each other out well, I think, where he has ideas to grow the channel and everything, and he's like, "What if we just made every video look like it's about Stuttering John, even when it isn't?" And I was like, "Well, that's a bad idea because people will be very disappointed when they click on it and it's not that."
or happy that it isn't.
But then he messages me the next day when Richard Ojeda is on and is like, "See? We have no choice, really. We can't get away from this guy."
Yeah.
So Richard Ojeda, of course, reunited with his buddy Stuttering John last week. A lot of you guys have probably already seen it, but I wanted to go over the clips because this is Richard. Like, we don't usually get to see him here on the Blind Mike Project. We see this curb stomping, jackaloon wrangling animal that is out there, just squashing Republicans. But this was a subdued Richard Ojeda who was tested in this episode with Stuttering John, where his patience was really tested with John because John is on a bender of sorts. And I don't mean that in a drug or alcohol way. I'm sure people will point to how quickly he's slugging down some of these beers. But I mean on a mental level, like when they refer to a dry drunk, basically it's in your behavior.
Mhm.
That's what I see when I look at John. Now he's, wet brained as can be, but so I'm literally not talking about alcohol. I'm just using that as kind of the baseline where he goes on these rants. Like, this is a man unhinged. This is a guy who has lost it. And it's a guy who is not thinking like someone who cares about keeping their teaching job. That's for goddamn sure.
Almost like it doesn't actually exist.
I don't know. I mean, everything points to the fact that he is still a teacher. That's an interesting theory. That did he get fired after the school year, or did they tell him he's not coming back because he's not behaving like a man who's going to be going to algebra in a month?
No, or if you have any sort of name, you gotta understand that some of the teachers in that school probably won't talk to you about you being on Stern, but they know, like they don't want to bring it up.
Yes, yeah, they're polite or whatever. It's
Yeah.
got to be the gossip of that teacher's
Yeah.
lounge.
Yeah.
That this man is unhinged and he's screaming at people. I'm sure there's a certain word that John has coined. We'll play that clip in a bit. Probably my favorite one. So we'll talk about that. But like, he's losing his mind, and now he's friends with Carl, I guess. I don't know where this stands. That's the thing, is it's too hard to keep up with. Where the other day he has Carl on, and he's like, "Carl, listen, you and I are buddies. You know that."
Yeah, of course.
I'm like, what am I watching?
Flying Jameis with the super sticker. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, buddy. So all right, let's just get into the clips here because we've got a multitude of them. So where are we starting with John and Richard? Just them being back together?
Yeah, the reunion.
Okay.
You can say the charges were dropped, but I don't read anything unless it's super chat. I ain't reading shit if it's not a super chat. But now,
okay, can I say real quick before we hear him introduce Richard?
Mhm.
This is the problem with these shows, and Kevin Brennan is very upset with me, I guess, because I'm a hack. I'm a fucking hack. What are you doing, by my? You can't read a room. Kevin, get a new line. With the can't read a room line was funny the first time, but diminishing returns, buddy. You can only.
I find Mike's lawyer.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is Kevin is calling all these people hacks. He's a catchphrase comic now. He has these little catchphrases that not only is he doing, like all the people on his show repeat all the time. Hi, Chad's lawyer. You're a fucking hack. You're a piazza. You're Larry the Cable Guy, Kevin. You're an angry Larry the Cable Guy. Why? What are you doing? You're much funnier than this. Kevin is the popular kid. You know what he is? He's Dennis Reynolds. Where he could be a popular kid if he wanted to be. But he gets off on like running these dirt grubs that he has, like being the ringleader of Bob Levy and Ray DeVito and Patrick Melton and these people that he pits against each other for his own amusement. So it's very funny. Hey, Dennis Reynolds is my favorite television character. So I love watching it, but it's just funny how angry he gets about these little things. And he's very like sensitive about the super chats. Because I think that's what Carl criticized him about too. And he got all butthurt about Carl saying it. Like I guess that's what I criticized is I was like, you should have had Shuli on instead of just reading super chats.
Mm-hmm.
That's just true from an entertainment standpoint. Make your money however you want to make it. I don't care.
Right.
I'm not cutting Kevin's fucking internet modem off so that he can't read super chats. I'm just saying I didn't love it. It was boring to me.
The only thing I say to him in that scenario is if he paid John $3,000, I probably wouldn't have my mortal enemy on the show either.
What do you mean?
Because he paid John $3,000.
Oh, you're saying for Shuli to do that?
Yeah. So why would Shuli? Because he likes Carl, I think.
Well, but this is what I said though. If Kevin's doing it to fuck with Shuli, more power to him. Mazel tov, buddy. I'm saying as a show, it's just boring. If we sat here all day and said I Come Buckets is asking for more tits, it would get a little old after a while. It's fun the first time or two, but eventually it's just, okay, we got it. Oh, the chat is making fun of Bob, or they're saying something about John. That's crazy. We know.
Mike, just real quick, Magnesium Linoleum with a $10 super chat.
Oh, well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. What does he have to say? Please, the floor is yours.
I admire the balls of Hollywood Mike big timing your audience with your tardiness.
Listen, it's all Craig. Craig tells us what time we start. He says, hey, bitch, I ain't doing Friday. I say, all right. Okay. Does Sunday work, Craig? He's like, maybe. We'll see.
This isn't how I remember it.
We'll see if I show up, pussy. And I'm like, oh, okay. Can Hack Ride come? He's like, no. I'm like, all right.
I Come Buckets says super chat. I'll start the official Discord. Hack Ride is a fake.
Go for it. I have wondered, like, is Hack Ride a real person that I'm dealing with, or am I being catfished in some way?
I call him when he's like just waking up, so he forgets to throw the voice on.
And my answer to that for now is like, who cares? He hasn't ruined my life yet. I have given him access to my Twitter. That'll end horribly, but we'll see. What's the worst that could happen?
Did you really?
Well, I gave him. You can make it so that he can post videos. He doesn't like run. He doesn't have my like account information.
Yeah,
but he can post video, like monetized videos from my account because I don't know how to do it. So,
interesting. Yeah,
we'll see.
But back to the reunion.
Yes, I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. I got sidetracked. Yeah. Because we've been reading super chats for 20 minutes.
Well,
that's what happens, Kevin. I'm trying to teach you. You get fucking distracted. Do a show. Talk about something. That's all. You're a very funny guy, Kevin. Just drop the catchphrases in the super chats. You're very funny.
We bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Army Major Richard Ojeda.
What's up, my brother?
And then he's such good friends with him, he pronounces his name wrong.
Yeah.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm good. Good to see you again.
I'm glad to see you on here. I'm glad to see you back, man. Let me tell you, there's a lot of people out there that really enjoy the content that you bring. Now, I'm going to tell you, don't give these assholes oxygen. Brother, let me tell you something. You bring a lot to the table. You talk about the major issues that everybody needs to be talking about. That's why you have such a loyal following. Yeah, you're going to have trolls out there that are going to do everything in their power to try to hurt you because they can't be you. But remember, at the end of the day, everybody that comes on here, they really give a shit about you, John. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've missed you, man. I've missed your shows, man. I mean, hell, I was on your show about once a week at least. You bring great content, man, and you talk about the topics that need to be talked about. So I'm glad you're back, brother. And I hope you're back to stay.
Well, I am.
Now let's get to Chad Zumock. Talk about the important issues.
I don't know if Richard's shirt would be stolen valor if I wore it, but I want it.
This is where like these two were sidekicks towards the end of John's run. They were thick as thieves, and yet this reunion has the energy of like two acquaintances that ran into each other at Starbucks or something. Oh, hey, man, love what you're doing. I
Hey.
missed you. No, I've really missed you. I mean, we used to hang out all the time. Yeah, we have to do that again sometime.
The chat seems to think he's on serious medication. That's why he's so calm. Could be.
Richard, he's very, but I'll tell you, this is what happens in situations like this. When one partner starts to lose their mind, it evens the other guy out a little bit. So when you have, Richard's the guy that threatens to curb stomp people. When you have a guy who's on the verge of actually doing it, like John might have a violent break at some point, that levels Richard out to where he's like, hey man, he's approaching him like a barracuda. He's like, hey, buddy, no sudden movements. You all right? I hear you screaming about pock face. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Who?
So John, all I could think of is a couple months ago, Kirk Minahan was nice enough to come on Why You Laughing?
Mhm.
And we discussed Dennis Miller because that's a topic he would be interested in. This episode of Hypocrisy Police with Stuttering John would be like if I got Kirk on and then sandbagged him and it was just like, all right, here's a clip of Brendan Schaub. We're going to make fun of it for 45 minutes. You in?
Here's the brilliance behind Bert Kreischer.
He'd be like, no, I don't want to do that. Can we talk about Dennis Miller now? I assume John was not forthright with what they would be talking about today because Richard seems utterly baffled. He keeps mentioning, man, you talk about the important issues. When he was saying that, I assume he could not have meant that Carl is secretly gay. that couldn't possibly be the important issue Richard thought he was talking about.
I think he was literally going to come on to talk about politics and all that crap, but John just can't help himself.
Yeah. Well, let's see it. Let's enough teasing. Let's get into it.
We've got a significant percentage of this country that are on that side. And anybody who does anything and says anything that goes against what they want, they absolutely come out with a ferocity. I mean, it's almost as at the point where, today.
Hold on a second. Hey, Richard, who does that sound like? Not to get into politics today, but does that remind you of anyone, buddy? Look in the mirror. Jesus Christ.
Drew P-Ball, super chat, $5. Don't worry, we've missed this too, Richard.
We sure have.
Up and say that Donald Trump is a sack of shit, you go to prison. You got people that would literally wish you death because of this. And, I'm going to tell you, man, they are doing everything in their power to run you off. They're doing everything in their power because you bring guests on that know what the hell they're talking about and aren't afraid to speak truth to power. And they hate you for that. Because, but no, here's another thing too.
Black Panther rally.
Richard, I don't blame Richard for any of this because, like I said, he has no fucking idea what this world is. Richard doesn't. I'm Richard's biggest fan and have devoted the most time to him of anyone. He has no fucking idea who I am. He pays attention solely to taking down Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, and the other pigs on the right. That's all he's devoted to. That's all he puts any mental energy into. And so I don't blame Richard for thinking this way. Now he has a little pie in the sky mentality about how important John is to that cause. But one thing I do want you to remember is, did you hear there where he's like, I mean, if you don't agree with Donald Trump, there's some people that would go as far as to wish you death. Keep that in mind. Just remember that for a later clip. But
yeah.
I spoke with the person yesterday. Her name was Vicky Hildreth. Wonderful person. She may even be on here. She loves you too.
Oh, by the way, Vicky Hildreth is the bitch that we can blame for losing what we love most about Richard Ojeda. Listen to this.
Vicky Hildreth one day told me that she did not like how I was addressing the friggin' assholes. And I'm going to tell you what I've done is I do my nightly live now and I have my topics of the day. And it takes me at least 3 pages to get through the 30-minute period. And I don't even look at the conversations. I don't. I do this. I do a roll call. But for the most part, unless I ask the crowd a question, I don't look at it. And here's why. Most people are speaking very, very kind stuff. If I look here right now, I see a lot of people that love John. You know what? There's going to be 1 or 2 that's going to go on there that's going to try to talk shit. At the end of the day, fuck them. Fuck them. Let their ass, give them no oxygen, because make no mistake about it, John, they would never say this to your face. Never do they have the
Hey, first of all, Vicky, what the hell, man?
Come on, that was the draw.
Why are you ruining it for all of us? That's who we can blame for this is Vicky?
Of course, it was a broad.
I thought better of you, Vicky. That's disappointing. But Richard's coming in with the right mentality. Jokes aside, it's probably much better for his mental health that he's not looking at the chat during these shows, because he would get hilariously riled up. And that's the sort of wisdom he's trying to instill to John throughout this episode. Now,
Right.
Richard's on for probably an hour and a half, I think, give or take.
Yeah. Yeah.
The message never quite sunk in.
Well, no, that whole time he was speaking, John's just reading shit and just nodding his head like he's paying attention.
He never once listened to a word, Richard, despite saying over and over again, "I hear you, Richard."
I hear you. I hear you.
I know you could hear him. He wasn't listening.
Next we got John's mom.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
Happy fun chatter. Thanks for the $2. Can't believe Richard's talking about your mom, bro. No, he called her. No, let's just tell him what happened. I don't care, Richard.
I love her. She's awesome. She's a wonderful person. And if I get out to New York, I'm going to go visit her.
Okay.
John's drinking.
She is single, Richard.
Just an uncomfortable moment.
He just starts drinking his entire glass of water.
It shows you so much. The John and Richard relationship really shows you so much about John and how little, because Richard, at the end of the day, I think is a decent man.
I think so.
I mean, he did try to get that guy fired, or did get that guy fired. He used his power to ruin a man's life. But if we exclude that, I've seen nothing to indicate that he's a bad guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
I think Richard's a decent guy. John pays him zero mind throughout this episode, and has no, like, there's a few times where Richard says, no, I'm a happily married, sex comes up, and he's like, I'm a happily married man. And John's like, so Richard, when's the last time you made whoopee? Richard's like, again, I'm married. I don't like to get into that stuff, John.
Yeah, you know, it's once a month, once you hit a certain point of the marriage. I come back at Super Chat, Ojeda voice. Blind Mike is gay, and that's a fact.
And that's a fact. I mean, this man has 0 children. Let that sink in.
I missed a doghouse, and that's a fact. Let's see. This, you just labeled it a fun moment.
Okay. Oh, I think this is, if I remember right, I believe this is what we love about Richard. I was hoping to get more of.
And we're just going to do these real quick. What did I do?
Yes, it
what
is.
did I do? I did something, Army Major.
I still see you.
Yeah, but I did something wrong here.
He's gone. Richard is like, what the hell?
Richard's reading the chat now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hey, Spencer K, come get in my face. Anytime, big boy.
You hit one
And
button.
then John comes right back in.
Everything goes haywire.
John unknowingly saved Spencer K's life.
Yes, he did.
That's a moment where, like, 5 more seconds, Richard's getting into his truck. He's finding this jackaloo.
Spencer K, where do you live?
That's really, like, I mean, giving a drug addict, like, you know, smoking weed around a drug addict or having a drink out in front of an alcoholic. You leave Richard in front of that chat for 30 seconds and he gets hey, Spencer K, what if he starts tingling. What if I were to curb stomp your ass? And then John's like, oh, I'm back. No harm, no foul.
Don't wreck my super chats. Next we have international audience.
Oh, I think this might be where where John's ego comes through. Because remember, he said he gets 7 million Google searches in some period of time to Anthony Cumia's 5.
Yep.
I think this is where that sort of mentality comes in, is people pumping his tires a little bit.
Yeah, and remember, not 5 million.
No, 5, the number.
I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Tampa Catalytic Converters. Chad Zumock, that's where he, see, this is what happened, Richard. This cuck, this little pussy, this coward, who I know I can't wait to run into you.
Hold on. Just for context, so you can put yourself in Richard's frame of mind, he has no clue who Chad Zumock is. But to be fair, to John's credit, John has spent roughly 0 seconds explaining to Richard who Chad is. So there's been no backstory as to who Chad. All Richard knows is that Chad is a cuck and a pussy. And by the way, I got to give Craig a little props. Spot on about what Chad was doing this whole time. Completely trolling Chad, completely trolling John to the point where John and Chad are now enemies, which is all very WWE.
I like how he just wakes up and hates someone new every day without even doing anything.
I mean, the greatest thing, I'm sure there's already compilations out there, but literally in the episode he did with Chad, he's like, now Chad is my friend. I will never trash Chad. Can we start this clip over if you wouldn't mind?
I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Tampa catalytic converters. Chad Zumock, that's where he, see, this is what happened, Richard. This cuck, this little pussy, this coward.
I'll never trash him.
Who I know
this isn't even
I can't wait to run into you. Zumock. I can't wait to run into you.
John is not exactly the Donald Trump of giving out nicknames.
No, he's not. The only one I think that is funny is Bomb Levy.
Zumock. Got him.
But then he just says them 1,000 times in a row. And you're like, that's not funny anymore.
He says, I mean, this is where John is so frustrating. Because at a certain point, it's like, hey, John, no, we got it. Anthony has zits on his face. Shuli's a hack, and Bob is a fence sitter, and you don't like them. We got it. You know, we understand. You don't have to keep repeating it over and over again because all of his gripes are from years ago. They trashed my kids. And his example of Carl is something from I think when I started listening to that podcast. So like a couple of years ago, at least.
Look at that though. If you notice, if you look at that, it's not $5. That's it's €5.
Yeah, that's less than, right?
Now Richard's trying to instill in him, hey, John, that's something. Look at this. You have an international audience. And John's like, fuck them. It's only $4.35, right?
Yeah, as he's moving his bangless long hair out of his face.
Yeah, I hear you, Richard. You could give me a little more money, pal, since you're in Europe.
No,
but it doesn't matter. We have some business opportunity for you. If you were in Florida, yeah, I know.
That might be somebody from overseas.
Yeah. Christina Marie.
Richard's trying to be like, hey, John, look at that. You got people all around the world watching you. And John's like, yeah. Pipe down, Major. I got super chats to read.
I'm not the army. You can't control me.
Here's a better example of what I was trying to convey to Kevin Brennan is being so fixated on these super chats. It's bordering on Stuttering John territory. That's what I'm warning you about.
Yeah, real quick. Tom with the super chat, $10.
What's Tom have to say? Please, Tommy. Go ahead.
He says, I love the show. Thanks, guys.
Hey, anytime, Tom. If you please interject with nonsense like that as much as you guys want. Anyways, Kevin shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yes. Next we have, what is this? The Pay No Mind list.
I mean, this is Richard is just being disrespected. I don't understand. Maybe he learned such discipline in the military that he doesn't react to this. But this is, the podcasting equivalent of a loogie to the face to old Richard Ojeda.
Richard, they're obsessed with how many shirts I have. I mean, with all this shit that's going on in the world, the war in Ukraine, climate change, the Trump indictments.
Subjects you haven't talked about once.
Nothing. You're just like, another thing about Shuli.
With all that's going on in the world, they're focusing on my shirts instead of Chad Zumock or Shuli Igor. The important things.
And Richard, the entire time he's on here is like, who?
Yeah, but right there is where John's like, these massive subjects like Ukraine, and Richard's like, Ukraine, Trump indictment. I'll talk about these things.
He's like,
But-
finally, get me off this.
Let's hear where John goes with it.
The Trump indictments, and you're worried about how many shirts I have.
Yeah,
Fuck
it's
you,
it.
go ahead.
Don't give him oxygen, man. Let me tell you something. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, let's talk about some of the stuff, man, that's going on.
Hold on, not yet. Sean, did you hear about?
Richard, that's a rare moment of good broadcasting by Richard, where he's like, "Oh, a perfect segue? Is that what you're setting me up with, John?
A nice, clean, crisp segue.
Don't mind if I do. Well, let's get into it. Trump indicted. What do you say, Johnny? Hold on a minute.
We'll see how unnatural segues are later in the program.
Hold on. Kinky Loco is on the line. Kinky, what do you say?
This is one I enjoy. This one's just titled "There's Our Richard."
All right. Let's hear from our boy.
Super happy fun chat. Thanks for $2. I heard Army Major's a Trump fan now. True? No, never. I can answer for him.
I'm a fan of him drawing his last breath.
Now, pair that with earlier when he was like, some of these people, if you could believe it, John, if you just say that you disagree with Donald Trump, they will wish death on you. Now, can we replay that if you wouldn't mind? I'd like to hear Richard, because he's got such. This is like almost 80s comic delivery he's got here.
Yeah, it's pretty, the mouth he makes too when he says it.
But what else is in the news, folks?
Super happy fun chat. Thanks for $2. I heard Army Major's a Trump fan now. True? No, never. I can answer for him.
I'm a fan of him drawing his last breath.
But seriously, fellas, I mean, your wife ever go to the mall? I mean, shit.
John is obsessed with super chats.
It's ridiculous, and that's what I try to tell Kevin is like your show is going to get taken over to the point where you're not doing a show. You get obsessed with these super chats.
I come bucket super chat. Gay Mike thinks my booby super chats are hacky? ? Sad.
Well, hey, fellas, whatever you know, insult me if you'd like, as long as you super chat, keep firing away. But what I'm saying is, Kevin like interrupts the entire show.
Hello there, 11, €7. John thinks he's doing a wrestling character. Meanwhile, he actually is a real life wrestling character. By the way, a euro is worth $1.12.
Right. And anyways, I mean, Kevin's whole show is these fucking super chats. It's like exhausting, you know? That's my thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's the other thing. He cuts off in that clip where Richard is trying to say, hey, look, you have international viewers. And John goes, yeah, it's less, right? And Richard's about to go, no, actually, it's not.
It's more.
John's like, moving on. Thank you for the super chats, folks.
Jamie from New Hampshire with a super chat. No, I'll have to read his next message. I'm assuming he enter before typing. So it's just blank.
Keep it on.
But yeah, so they did just threaten the life of Donald Trump in some capacity, but here's their begrudging
him drawing his last breath.
Lazy Shorts opening it. Thanks for $5. Wishing death on people is a great way to get demonetized. No. He was making a joke about Donald Trump. It's not real. Stop trying to create problems. Super happy fun chat. Thanks for the $2. Saw pics of Army Major with a Newport, and that's the same one. I don't know what that means. All right, now, so Army Major. Yeah, please say that you were kidding about the Trump thing.
Look, Donald Trump can friggin' eat a bag of dicks. I don't get any shit about Donald Trump.
Richie!
We don't wish death on anybody. That's all I'm saying.
No, I don't wish death on anybody.
No. So he was just kidding, not me.
Tell him, Richard, say that you were just kidding. You weren't bullying the young man. Give him a piece of your sandwich. And play nice with him. Let him play with your Tonka trucks.
You know what it is? Someone said you're going to get demonetized for that, and John freaks out.
Yes, yeah. If you don't mention monetization, then John is all who gives a fuck. Hey, wish death on whoever you want. Wait a minute, I'll lose my money. Richard, say you were kidding now.
Right.
I like Richard's basically like, I mean, I'd like him to choke on a dick and die. Is that what you mean? Is that what you want me to say, John? No, Richard.
Box eating dad super chat $2. Craig has relations with kid plus doesn't snowboard.
How do you respond to these allegations?
I don't know what he means with the kid part, and I do snowboard.
Do you fuck children?
I think he means I'm a dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That wasn't a no, though. That was an interesting answer.
I don't fuck children. Absolutely not.
Okay, good. Someone has that, I'm sure. Thank you.
Dela super sticker. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, like I was saying, I just can't get over. I know we moved on, but it's just crazy these shows that get taken over by super chats.
Yeah. We won't let that happen to us.
No, thank you. What's next?
We sage advice.
Richard is trying his best. This is again, we've cut him up obviously for the sake of the show, but this is over the course of an hour and a half. So every 15, 20 minutes, Richard tries to interject with like, John, stop what you're doing.
Please. For the love of God.
These people have been arrested. They are not good people.
Yeah, but John, let me just say something. What you're saying right now is convincing some people to go watch just to see that happen. Don't give them that oxygen. You're better than this, brother. I love you, man. These motherfuckers don't deserve to friggin' daggone push you off your game. Fuck them.
No. I'm pointing out the hypocrisy of these people. Because
I made shirts and everything.
So that's what I don't know if you caught that, but he goes, I'm pointing out the hypocrisy of people and he pulls his shirt
These
up.
people are bonkos.
Yes.
I'm a thick boy. Just point everything on you.
No. I'm pointing out the hypocrisy of these people because they try and pretend they're all they're these great parents and great people, and yet they use like the N-word, like it's like talking about.
I totally understand that, John, but here's the thing: it's taking your entire show. Fuck them.
I know.
Fuck them.
Listen, John Elder, thanks for the 2.
Richard is not listened to once in the hour and a half. Why would you have Richard on? You don't need Richard for this. I don't understand the motivation for inviting Richard to this.
He can't even tag him correctly on Twitter.
He tagged some Argentinian kid named Richard Ojeda.
This next one, our very own Hack Ride makes an appearance.
Okay, this is the first. I think me and Hack Ride had some fun on this day.
Chad, I can't wait to your explanation of why it was okay. Hack Ride, I think it's $2. Blind Mike Project supports Richard Ojeda. Good. Everyone should support the Young Major. Hey, Chad, why was it
okay? Richard has no. It's one thing for Richard to not know who Chad Zumock is. That's what most human beings alive don't know who Chad Zumock is. Totally fine. But John never goes the step of explaining to him the beef that he's just like, he's a criminal and he was trolling me and he was trashing my kids and he's friends with Carl. And Richard, meanwhile, is like, I don't even know who Carl is. Who are these people, John?
Jamie, another super chat with no message again. Oh, he did it. All right, he wrote underneath. I'll just read it. Ojeda needs a black and white T-shirt of Edward Norton smiling while putting his hands behind his head. Hope that was worth the money.
Not bad.
That was not bad. Yeah, he just said it twice. I just realized. This one's called John Isn't Listening.
It's so frustrating to watch. I really felt for Richard throughout this interview, or whatever you want to call it.
Terribly. I felt awful. It was hard to watch.
The only thing that gave me solace and peace for Richard was knowing that he absolutely had to say to his wife or someone in his life later that, like, I mean, I tried to get through to this guy, but he just wasn't listening. Like, it has to be all the gossip in Richard's house. Like, this guy is going downhill fast. There's something wrong with him.
I'm just realizing I don't think we cut the part where he talks about paying Ojeda.
Oh, we didn't. You're right. I heard Carl and the boys pointing that out where he demands, like, he made Kevin Brennan pay him $3,000. I think
Mhm.
Chad paid him like $1,200, something like that, which
Mhm.
he has no set price. It's just whatever he's willing to agree to that day. I think he agreed to $20 from Opie.
Right.
But he's like, Richard's my friend. What am I going to pay him?
Yeah, and Richard does the normal, yeah, why would I want anything? I'm a guest on the show. And then John's like, yeah, why would I pay this guy?
Yeah, you only get paid when you're me and you go on Misery Loves Company. That's when you get paid.
If Richard wanted to slam dunk, he should just be like, define hypocrisy.
John, do you know what that means? The word on your shirt there, not police.
He's like,
But-
I'm just gonna arrest all these hacks.
So I heard them saying, I don't know if it was Kevin or Chad or both, but they were reading their text messages with John. And I guess they both said, like, Kevin went on his show and was like, hey, so are you going to pay me now for going on your show? And John replied, LOL.
Yes.
And then Chad,
Yeah.
same thing. Like, hey, so, you know, it's a wash now. You came on my show. I'm going on your show. I'll get my money back. And John replied, LOL. And so to John, it's literally unfathomable that he would pay a guest.
He's legit a gigantic scumbag.
He's the most egotistical narcissist that there has ever been, and that's why he's the greatest. That's why the last couple of weeks of his content have been so fun, because it truly doesn't get old. Like, there's a lot of people that don't wear on me. Like, I find that Delete Laws guy fascinating. I talk about him a lot, but I can tell Carl's kind of like, whatever on him. And I get that, because there's a lot of characters like that where people are like, you know, it's one trick. We got it.
Studjo Depot's in the chat. This isn't a super chat, but he just says Army Major's sitting there thinking about his rock collection.
Yes, and please feel free to interrupt at any point. We'll always read super chats. But
yeah, but this is John isn't listening.
okay.
Last night, stabs me in the back, goes on these other shows just to trash me. I mean, Major, like, how would you guys handle that kind of thing, you know, in the Army? Like, people are your friends and then they trash you the next day for a buck?
No, that doesn't happen in the military. But don't give him oxygen. John, I tell you, don't give him
Please,
oxygen.
for the
Love of God.
John, stop, please.
At least not while I'm here, John. Please.
Wait till I leave.
Yeah, talk politics for an hour with me or kick me off. Something.
I really don't want to Kevin Brennan this, but Dave Sara, $5 super chat. The reason we make fun of John with no remorse is that he squandered 10 lifetimes of luck with his greed and selfishness.
Yeah, it truly is fascinating to watch, and he's the gift that keeps on giving. Like, it's new, but it's not. It's weird with John, because it does get very repetitive to me, and that's why I've gotten a little sick of some of it. Because, like, every day, like, we may have played this. This might be when we started talking about Richard pretty early on, towards the end of John's run.
Yep.
Where he's like, Richard, let me tell you a bit about this Anthony Cumia guy. And then he tries to play the video where Anthony loses his gun.
Yeah.
And Danny Brand is filming him, and Anthony's like shit-faced. First of all, a video filmed illegally without his consent that was posted to the internet, and he was drunk, so I wouldn't want that out there either. But whatever. But John's talking about that and like trying to show Richard, and Richard doesn't give a fuck, because he's like, the guys. Richard had the correct answer, whether you love or hate Anthony or whatever. Richard goes, I don't know. The guy's probably a racist, but anyways, and just like moves on. Because that's how you should respond when someone is telling you about something you don't give a fuck about. So
or
that's
you're
like,
only hearing one side.
Yes, they're only hearing one side of. So that's 8 months ago, whatever. John has Richard on to do the exact same thing and is playing these videos, and Richard is like, yeah, man, I guess he's a racist. I don't know what you want me to say.
No, Richard, that's all this is about. That's why I'm doing this right now. I'm doing this show called the Hypocrisy Police
Shows it
to
again.
call out the
Shows the shirt.
hypocrites. That's what this is about right now, Richard. It's not about
understand.
politics right now.
No, I understand, John, but I mean, at the end of the day, you've got a lot of people that really enjoy your
And I'll
show.
go back to that, but not yet, Richard.
Yeah.
Now I want to call these assholes out.
And Richard is trying to say, John, what good is that doing you? What is it proven? You were doing it before. John's acting like, finally, I'm going to address the trolls. When it's like every episode of his dumb political show, he was like, Anthony Cumia's a pedophile. I'm going to be suing Carl from Rochester.
I
And that
truly
was his
don't
whole
think,
show before.
I truly don't think he knows what a hypocrite is.
That's a great point. That he is the greatest hypocrite of them all. Everything that he accuses other people of doing, trashing your
Mike,
family.
we have a super chat, $5. Hold on one
Okay.
second.
All right.
It says, "Please read this now. Thank you."
Okay. Well, it's important to interrupt the show with that. So no, sir. Thank you, because it's always important.
Thank you,
I
Michael.
think that's how a good show is run. That the flow is completely interrupted to be like, hey, Balls Mahoney just gave us $3.
EC Dub. Michael Redden, thank you.
I actually forgot my point, though. That's
I'm
the downfall. That's the great downfall of this bit. Is I
was
do
gonna
forget
say,
what I'm saying.
I'm way too into character right now.
All right,
Let me see here. We got oh shit, what did I hit?
By the way, if anyone's watching that could hand me my water bottle, that would be terrific. I forgot it out there. It's on the living room table.
You know, someone might actually do that.
We'll find out if that person is at their post right now.
Nothing is getting through.
That seemed to be a common theme throughout this episode, but we'll
Yep.
see which example this is.
All right. But I know what you're saying, Richard. It's also infantile. I get it.
I just know
It's
that.
$5, Mr. Sir.
I just know that when we've had some really really good shows, man, where we've been with Clint Cursor, really really good shows, and there's a lot of people that's what they want. That's what they want to hear. They want to get the taste of politics.
Not listening.
Don't give in to these assholes, man. Don't give them nothing.
That's what I'm doing today. So I hope you're gonna hang around. Angie, thanks for the $10.
He's treating Richard like Richard weaseled his way onto the show.
He's acting like he's stern in that Richard is Stuttering John.
Here's what we're doing today, Richard. And while Richard is talking, while Richard is making this truly the most level-headed and rational we've ever heard, a sentient point that he is making here, John's like, Zumock's taint. Thanks for the $5. It's just reading super chats. It's fucking crazy.
As Richard's like, you can't forget about your family. Just focus on them.
By the way, the power of this show, water in hand. What a reach.
Wow.
All the way to my living room.
Yeah, that was Barry Stevens probably just walked in.
Here you go, Mikey.
This one, a good way to treat a guest.
Yeah, it's just the rude. He's the rudest guy that I've ever watched.
A truly terrible person.
Okay. Now I just want to make sure this is bleeped, but
This is, by the way, this is the Cumia video that we played at the end of Why You Laughing. With no context, he is going to try to explain this to Richard.
okay. Now I just want to make sure this is bleeped, but
All right. Richard,
It cracks me up. It cracks me up when I see.
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
Richard, again, I've never seen Richard be like a decent broadcaster until this episode.
Yeah, he gets it.
Where he's like, okay, John is he's stopped talking entirely. He's working on whatever fucking technical problems he's dealing with. So I will try to step in and make a point here. And the moment he starts talking, John's like, hey, not so fast, Richard.
Yeah, this next one is Richard checks out.
Yeah, this is where like it felt bad for Richard, but we're also like, how is John not picking up on that? Like, I'm overly sensitive to stuff, and I almost envy John, because if I think someone is giving me a dismissive tone, I'll crumble and be like, oh God, they must hate me, or they're
Right.
bored, or they're not having fun, or they hate being on this show.
Yeah.
John doesn't have an ounce of that. It's beautiful.
Don't forget, I played you, but I'll play you again. This is the guy that was that bit his girlfriend's hand, and she had to call the cops, and he was arrested. And this is the same guy that night who was drunk and lost his
Spit it out.
his gun. All right. I mean, which is he's a hypocrite. He's all for the First Amendment, yet he can't find his gun.
Hold on.
The
First Amendment. Is that the First Amendment?
Nope. That is the second.
I mean, he's all for freedom of speech, and yet where's his gun?
I always wondered why there was 2A on the gun stickers on cars.
He thinks the press should be able to do their job, and yet his gun isn't properly locked up. That's hypocrisy.
Oh shit.
Oh wait, sorry. Can we hear the end of that again? I feel like there was a Richard moment.
Oh, did I? Whoops. I might have. Here we go.
All right. I mean, which is he's a hypocrite. He's all for the First Amendment, yet he can't find his gun. Are you listening?
Yeah.
And there's a moment where John just is like, well, I guess I'll do this myself, Richard. And Richard's like, yeah, I would rather that. You should be doing this yourself. I shouldn't be involved in this.
Imagine talking to someone you look forward to seeing after a long time, and this is how it goes.
It's crazy. Yeah, Richard seemed like he missed his buddy at the beginning, and now he's like, yeah, man. And there's a lot of people like that Tony Michaels guy where he's like, what's his name there? Anthony Cumia. I don't know who he is. The Oswald and Anthony show. Is that what he's from?
Anyone that speaks into a microphone knows who Anthony Cumia is. I'm sick of that shit.
But here's the thing. That's what I was about to say is Richard, I believe, doesn't like maybe if you said Opie and Anthony to him, he'd be like, okay, I heard of them. That was I don't know what I was doing there. That was a half Richard, half I just wanted to keep talking.
It sounds like a gay guy in Western Georgia drinking tea.
Yeah, that was Richard with wood paneling in the background. But he might be like, yeah, I heard of them, but he's not like a diehard Anthony. Richard is genuine when he's like, John, I don't know these people. I don't have a comment on them. I don't care.
What do you want me to say?
Hey, he's a bad guy. Yeah, it looks like he had zits on his face when he was. What do you want from me?
This is just called his what? Question mark.
Well, this is what I was referring to earlier, where I think John always talks about how educated he is, and he's thinking on a different level. And this is true because this is something I didn't even know existed about old Richard Ojeda.
Now, let me ask you, what's your ethnicity?
What's my what?
Ethnicity.
Okay, listen. We've all start that over.
Yep.
But we've all bungled words, and I've stepped over myself. I'm sure already on this episode. But when you're given a second chance, and you're like, Richard, get the wax out of your ears, please. I said ethnicity. Why are you ignoring me? Why are you dodging the question? What is your ethnicity?
Ethnicity, you fucking idiot.
Ethnicities, the simple ethnicities of life.
Now, let me ask you, what's your ethnicity?
What's my what?
Ethnicity. Are you Irish? I don't know.
Hispanic. I'm Hispanic.
Oh, that's right.
Richard Ojeda. Oh, top of the morning to you. Pancho Villa.
He even mispronounces it more Hispanic than it actually sounds. Ojeda.
John reads the O. He thinks it's O apostrophe Heda. Ethnicity is great.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. If John understood anything about himself, he'd be selling ethnicity shirts. It's a great band name.
I love the title of this next one is Why is Richard here?
Richard, just leave. Just fucking X out. You know how to, Control Alt Delete this window.
I think Russia's attack in West Virginia. I gotta go.
This is when he bring up the kids. You see that? This guy's another cook. John, I can help you with Carlin. Cardiff, you're another one. Another guy.
$2.79. He leaves
a
him.
friend and then trashes you. These guys have no morals.
Hold on. Go back a little bit. I want John, let this sink in. You were yelling at a potato on the internet that he isn't the friend to you that you thought he was.
Yeah.
A potato has left you $2.79. And you were yelling, I thought we were friends, Cardiff.
The super chat on the screen when this clip starts is from John's gay kid.
But John's asking for that shit. It's like, yeah, no one would make fun of his kids if he wasn't bringing them up all the time. If he wasn't saying, the best way to get people to make fun of your kids is by saying, hey, don't you dare make fun of my kids. No one knows anything about his dumb kids other than what he says.
Or they say in the newspaper.
But the idea, this is what Richard doesn't even realize the levels that are going on now. I mean, like, Richard is pissed just knowing what he knows, that he was dragged here to be basically a scratching post for John to go to every once in a while. But Richard has no idea that John is yelling at a man who masquerades as a potato and talks about the 90s with Tukey on the internet. John is yelling at that man, saying, I thought we were friends. I thought we were friends, you and I.
This is the way they bring up the kids. You see that? This guy's another cook. John, I can help you with Carlin. Cardiff, you're another one. Another guy that becomes your friend and then trashes you. These guys have no morals.
I knew it was you, Cardiff.
He's doing it. He's pulling up his shirt again.
You broke my heart.
Once again, doesn't seem to be. It's like the song Ironic, how there's nothing really ironic in the song. John keeps saying hypocrite, and I don't think it really fits.
Cardiff is here. As you may know, he pretends to be a potato, yet he uses the internet. Hypocrite! Like, well, that's not what that means, John.
Hypocrites! David Alexander.
But John,
what?
I want you to know.
Hold on. Go back. When Richard spoke, it was almost like
Disgust.
God was talking to John. Wait, where the hell is that coming from?
He thought he hit like an audio super chat.
Oh, right. There's a person on my show that I've ignored.
David Alexander.
But John,
what?
I want you to know.
Yes.
You're giving them an entire show.
Good. Thanks for the $10. Why do you?
That is the verbal equivalent of just holding up your middle finger.
Yeah.
And saying, why don't you scray?
This guy gave me $10, so fuck you.
Yeah. The $2.79 that Cardiff left is more than you mean to me, Richard.
$2.79. Dave Delafiore, $5 at Blind Mike Project. Isn't Quincy behind the paywall?
It is, as a matter of fact. It's funny you should say that, because patreon.com/blindmike is where you can go. Oh, can you subscribe to YouTube, for God's sake? I've been asking Craig about this for a dog's age.
This afternoon, I think that will be all set. I need to talk to you about things I don't know the answer to.
Well, keep refreshing, because maybe eventually you can subscribe on YouTube. But for now, go to blindmike.net, where you can find the Patreon. You can find all the free links, Apple, Spotify, what have you. Leave 5-star reviews there if you wouldn't mind, and subscribe to the YouTube. If you're watching right now on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and tap the notification bell. That way, weeks like this, we're a little off schedule, you'll still know exactly when we're going live. And it helps us with the algorithm and everything. And by the way, I would say watch that Charlie Chaplin episode, because boy, nobody did. But I assure you, it's a good one.
It was very fun. I enjoyed that episode a lot.
Those old episodes do dog shit for numbers, but I think they're some of the best episodes. So if you like Why You Laughing, go check that out.
I feel like it's one or the other. No one listens or everyone listens.
Yeah. Blind Mike Project. Who are these socials? Why are you laughing? All the links are at blindmike.net. Subscribe to the Patreon. We passed 700, baby, for now. And, until next month. So get us to a number where we won't sink below it, huh? How's that
Yeah.
sound?
Come on.
Blindmike.net. All right, let's continue.
This one is called Great Quote.
Okay, I don't remember what this is. This should be interesting.
Listen to Richard's advice, John. The pawns come to attack your children. Feed on your grief and anger. Don't give them oxygen. Ignore them. They're not worth your time. That's what Major's saying.
It's true, John. Piss.
I know it's true, but I'm going to do it
Piss
for a little
on 'em.
while.
Yeah, but don't give him the.
Hold on, go back. That's what I want. John is literally a 15-year-old.
I like how Richard's sitting there so stoic. He's like, "It's true, John. Piss on him."
Richard has evolved into John's guardian angel at this point. Where a moment ago, John was like, "Where's that coming from?"
Huh?
It's true, John. Follow your truth. You don't need these people. Piss on them, John.
Major's saying.
It's true, John. Piss.
I know it's true, but I'm going to do it for a little while.
Yeah, but don't give him the oxygen. I'm telling you, they don't deserve it, John.
I know they don't. HBE.
I know it's true, but I'm going to do it for a little while.
That was like the most sane thing he said. Is he just at least admitted he's not listening?
it's such childish shit. It's amazing. You're spot on, Craig, because the man wearing the shirt that says hypocrisy doesn't see that everything he's doing is a contradiction. It's insane.
Let's see. This one is it's funny.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to read that one. I'll just put it there for a second. This guy's mad that you keep getting Trump in it, Richard. Richard, I love watching your reactions to this. Come on, it's funny.
Yeah.
Fun show. Thanks for $5. If you want to leave.
Richard has had enough. There have been times in Iraq and Afghanistan where Richard has had far more backup and protection than he has on this fucking live stream. He's a man on an island. He's got nobody there. And he's like, what the fuck am I doing?
We got a super chat from Dayla, $2. Please do a Why Are You Laughing on Tim Allen?
We did.
We sure did.
What are you, nuts? Go back in the archives, baby. Yeah, that was a very early one, Tim Allen.
Yes, it was. Super chat from Dave Delafiore. I don't know how to pronounce that. I know I have HIV, Army Major, but it'll clear up. It's extra funny when they pay for us to laugh at the jokes.
Sure.
Let's see. The next one is I enjoy this one. This is Nikki B.
So John has been trying to justify the whole charity scheme he was running.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Richard knows who this Nikki B person was, his chat moderator. And John, you can hear the excitement in my voice for the topic. Richard goes even beyond that.
Exhausting. They keep saying that I had a cancer charity scam. Remember Nikki B?
Yes, I know Nikki B.
Sounds real.
And you know that her husband had cancer.
I did not know that.
Well, he was undergoing chemo. So I said, hey, if you want to donate in Super Chats, I'll give it to Nikki. And I did. And they're saying I had a fake charity scam. And I sent her a mini iPad. And my mother sent her $100.
Richard's just like, whatever, man.
Okay.
Can we move on? Also, saying like, hey, if people online are saying, hey, John, you are claiming to be running a charity, but that's not how charity works. So you should probably look out for that. The response shouldn't be, my mother gave $100. She has an iPad now. It's like, yeah, I don't think that cures cancer. I don't know. Steve Jobs did a lot of good for the world, but
I think actually those cause cancer.
I think that's what Steve Jobs died of, as a matter of fact. So
I think so. This next one is called John on His Own.
Well, yeah. Rich. Oh, this might be what I was talking about earlier, where John has lost any hope for Richard participating.
Trump sheep decide to go and believe it and spew it It's like when Trump says something stupid and they all believe it. Don't worry, I can do it myself, Richard. A-O. Richard, you're calling somebody.
I'm calling
A-O.
my wife. Her phone was, she's missing her phone.
Oh, thanks for the $5. You diminish.
I pray. I thought for a moment we were going to get Richard saying, I'm calling my wife to tell her I love her. Oh, this world got up in a big damn hurry. They don't need old Richard no more.
Hello there, €2. I think the Army Major deserves another medal.
Hey, and that's more than $2, isn't it, Richard?
You can sell it for a little bit more than that. John, that's tough look for John, that you're so boring. He's like, yeah, I'll help my wife.
Yeah, my wife's phone is missing. Meanwhile, I run shit in this house. Bitch brings me water when I need it. Snap the old fingers. Thank you, baby. If you're still watching, I appreciate
it. This one is I get it.
Okay.
Richard, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you're right. I am saying that you're right. That's why I took a break for 7 months.
You, Richard, you were right. And we were wrong.
So wrong.
He's just living fucking Richard's the king of comedy in John's perverse world.
Richard, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you're right. I am saying that you're right. That's why I took a break for 7 months. I didn't need this minutia.
I know that.
Right now I'm just calling them out for the hypocrites that they are.
I know that, but I mean, I'm just saying.
Don't give them air. I get it. I get it. But I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
I know that, John. But let me tell you.
Corn dip, thanks for the $5. Do you have any hobbies like woodworking or muscle cars?
No.
Richard.
He is such a dickhead.
Richard, all right. I get it. Before, when I was yelling at the potato, I understand maybe I was taking it too seriously. But now you have to understand, an ear of corn has given me $5. You must sympathize with me a little, Richard.
It's none of that Euro crap.
That's the other embarrassing thing about these super chats is like guys like Opie and Stuttering John are like stopping their show to be like, you know, Rusty Taint gave me 40 cents. And it's like, oh, you're a fucking millionaire, Opie.
Well, speaking of super chats, this next one's called You're Welcome.
Okay. Oh, well, hey, I did get involved. Hey, guys, some of your proceeds today will be going to help the Hypocrisy Police. We're funding the Hypocrisy Police.
Blind Mike, he's a big fan of yours, Major.
Well, thank you, Blind Mike. I appreciate that.
You got it, buddy. I got your back. Meanwhile, if I really cared, I'd be sending a helicopter to fucking North Carolina to get Richard out of here.
Please, nuke my house.
Richard, reach up. We got you, but we're taking you to safety.
Mike, he's a big fan of yours, Major.
Well, thank you, Blind Mike. I appreciate that.
So even though they say don't give it air, you're gaining some fans here. Thanks for
that's the reason. Fuck you, dude.
John has spun it. Mwah, beautiful, John, where you have done nothing to promote Richard on this episode. you haven't even said, like, I don't think at this point in the episode he said like what his YouTube channel is or when his live show is or anything like that. And yet he's able to spin it like, hey, Richard, little free promotion for it. And I'm actually, I almost feel bad now that I gave Richard these super chats because technically I did learn who he was from John. But now in John's mind, he's going to like hold that over Richard to be like,
oh, for sure.
I'm the only reason anyone knows who you are, Richard.
AARP Steve, $5. Richard looks like he would rather be back overseas dismantling a roadside bomb than be stuck with John any longer. That's very funny.
I'd rather be with Doc Stallings right now.
Fuck him up. Dude, you put Doc Stallings in Afghanistan, the war would have ended in like 2006.
Yeah, you know, I didn't realize how easy super chatting was. I think I said it in the regular chat. And then a minute later, I learned like, oh, it's just fucking Google Pay. It takes 2 seconds. I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
And I should have. I had already said something about Doc Stallings in the chat. but I should have asked Richard about Docs just to get him involved, for God's sake.
Just to hear another story that would be
If
interrupted.
Dad and Anthony were coming after Doc Stallings, how would he handle that? Oh, well, let me tell you what.
Mike Hawk, $5. Just cuts them off. Here is the Blind Mike Project tag team of Hack Ride and Blind Mike.
We had some fun. Stockton and Malone in this super chat here.
Here's another one. This is the guy that I think is your fan. Blind Mike, thanks for $5. Says Richard, subscribe to the Blind Mike Project, or why are you laughing? Or is he more of a WATS guy? I don't know what that means.
Don't know what that means.
I like that. I think John might know what Who Are These Socials is, because that's the only one where he's like, I don't know what that one is.
He knows the other ones though.
Yeah. Why are you laughing? He's a big fan of that. But
Hack Ride, $5. Richard's advice is spot on. Blind Mike was right about Richard, man of principle. Richard is a great guy. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying right now I'm livid. HP, thanks for $2. You ready? Quit teaching for KB. Hypocrisy. First of all, Brennan's he's not getting rid of Levy. But if he did, and the money was right, and I could work with a man like Brennan, I would think about it. Because I like
imagine Richard's just sitting there through this horse shit.
Yeah. John and Brennan in a super chat off every episode. No, I'm gonna read it.
Neither guy is paying attention to the other one. They're just simultaneously reading super chats.
Yeah.
King Stevie, thanks for $5. So you and Artie on better terms these days. You guys great together, two legends. I love Artie. We get that one. I think we're good. What's next?
We have two more.
All right. Oh, I think we might be closing out with Hack Ride's Gyms here.
Yes.
Right.
This is the Carl rumors.
Oh, we played this on WATS, but worth playing again because Carl, John absolutely agrees with something that's unsettling that I've been hearing about Carl.
Let's see. Thanks, Blind Mike. Thanks for $5. Rumor suggests that Carl refused to read super chats and just pocket some money. Very wood paneling of him. No. Yes, I agree.
That sentence is utter gibberish. Very wood paneling of him. No, and John's like, absolutely. Thanks for the $5.
Another super chat from Dave at Blind Mike Project. Thanks for today's excuse to day drink.
You got it, baby. Crack them open, boys and girls.
Responsibly, of course.
Yes, always. I recommend on a day like this, High Fives, the weed seltzers.
Oh, I think you meant like just walk around and high five.
Just give your pal a high five out there somewhere. No, weed seltzers are, I think, a good alternative to booze because you keep the ritual. You keep the ritual of drinking, but it's like 5 milligram. So if you're also a weed fan, I think it's a good alternative to drinking. Anyway,
just 5 milligrams in each can.
Yeah,
good. That would be a nice, cool buzz.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. A little tip for you kids out there: 0 calories. You know,
a few kids out there, get high.
I'm sure it's awful for you in other ways, but yeah,
you'll find out in 5 years or so.
Yeah.
This is the last one, though.
I think this was. I think Heckrad did his best work, and as far as super chats go, I think this is the best one of the day, if I remember correctly.
Heckrad, thanks for the $5. Sean, your thoughts on that fan? He tried to throw Blind Mike out for laughing at a Tom Myers comedy show as a comedian. What are your thoughts? No, I would never. He tried to throw Blind Mike out for laughing at. No, I wouldn't try and throw somebody out for laughing. Would you go on? King Stevie, thanks for the $5.
You hear that, Dad fan? Even Stuttering John wouldn't do it.
John's disgusted. No. He threw Blind Mike out? My friend?
Yeah, you're going to be the next guy he yells at.
He threw out Richard's biggest fan?
He's going to try to win him over so he gets all your money.
So, yeah, all in all, it was a very bizarre day. And then John went on to have Carl on so he could yell at Chad. And then he went on Kevin's podcast. He's mad at Kevin and Chad now. I don't know where it stands. You guys in the chat can let me know. But as far as I know, he's friends with Carl, hates Brennan and Zumock. That's my scorecard, but it's not quite up to date because it's gotten exhausted. This is what I was saying to Carl the other day, where I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing it, man. And Carl was kind of like, hey, listen, everyone's stealing my bit, but now you're in it, motherfucker. You started talking about Stuttering John. There's no out. There is no leaving. Do you understand?
We were trying to just focus on Ojeda, and there was overlap. It was.
I got in over my head, man. I didn't know what it was like. I didn't think he'd come back. I didn't think John would come back. I had no idea what I was doing. I was a kid.
We got Dat Fan and Pablo Francisco.
Oh man, all right. But yeah, good for Richard joining up with his old pal Stuttering John. We'll see if they collaborate again, and I've seen Richard had a guest on recently, so I want to dive into that more. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Saw someone say something about that in the chat earlier. So
good. Then maybe it's worth investigating.